Thank you, Secretary Romulo. Mr. Director General and other UN officials, our two cabinet ministers here, Secretary Atienza and Secretary Favila, and the different ministers who are here participating in this conference, other participants, our foreign guests, welcome to the Philippines. Our Filipino participants, thank you for being here with us today. It is a privilege for our country to host this first international conference on green industry in Asia. And we thank UNIDO, UNEP, ESCAP, ILO, the Asian Development Bank, and other international institutions for making this conference possible together with our Department of Environment and Natural Resources. This international conference on green industry in Asia comes at the most opportune time, as our speakers have said earlier. We're only 3 months away from the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in Copenhagen, where countries will seek agreement on a new multilateral framework to deal with climate change. And we are honored to host this conference because this issue is essential to us. As a nation of more than 7,000 islands, the Philippines feels the pain of natural disasters and rising seas more than most nations. Because of this, we take every opportunity we can to call on all countries to collectively secure a positive outcome to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change negotiations. The Philippines, as one of the key negotiators of the Group of 77 and China in the climate change talks, is focused squarely on this objective as we travel on the road to Copenhagen. We call on all the developed countries, referred to as the Annex 1 countries in the Climate Change Convention, to table their firm post-Kyoto greenhouse gas emission targets, taking into account the ideal level suggested by the international scientific community, and to do this without conditionalities. We also call on them to assist developing countries to mitigate and adapt to worsening changes in climate by fulfilling their treaty obligations to provide technological and financial support, including support for green industry. In our country, as Secretary Atienza said, we are pressing ahead with a massive Green Philippines environmental plan that is comprehensive in scope and thorough in execution. A plan that includes reforestation, preservation of our reefs and waterways, a plan that includes scrubbing the land and air of pollutants that endanger the health of our citizens, a plan that includes energy independence. As part of our concrete contributions to green industry, last year, we enacted a landmark law promoting the development, use, and commercialization of renewable energy resources. To stimulate investments in the renewable energy sector, the law provides generous fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. Feed-in tariffs provide reassurance to investors in wind, solar, ocean, run-of-river hydropower, and biomass resources. The law also seeks to institutionalize a renewable portfolio standard, requiring the country's electric utilities to obtain a certain portion of their electricity from clean, homegrown, renewable energy sources. It also exempts the proceeds from the sale of carbon credits from all taxes. Our Green Philippines agenda puts an emphasis on a sustainable economic model that brings economic opportunity and a concern for our environment, indeed a model of green industry. It is devoted to a sustainable economic model that allows for growth, job creation, and environmental stewardship. Too many nations have believed that the environment must be sacrificed at the altar of growth. We have always believed otherwise. And because we are in the takeoff stage, we have a unique opportunity in our country to get it right from day one, to to introduce new industries that are clean and profitable. This ranges from furniture made with environmental friendly practices, to ecotourism, to developing a renewable energy industry that helps our energy independence, creates jobs, and keeps our nation clean for the future. For instance, in ecotourism, we have a program called Grassroots Entrepreneurship in Ecotourism, GREET or GREET, that offers livelihood assistance to small and micro tourism-related enterprises with a green component. For the larger companies, Secretary Fabila and his Board of Investments have very generous incentives for environment-friendly practices. As for energy independence, during our administration, we increased indigenous energy from 48% to 58% and attained 67% self-sufficiency in electric power production. With our renewable energy law, we plan to double the amount of power generated from renewable energy by 2020. Together with inroads in the use of indigenous energy, we continue to find ways to reduce fossil fuel consumption. We have initiated the switch from incandescent bulbs to energy-efficient compact fluorescent lamps. Because if we could save up to 50 megawatts, we save ourselves the cost of having to build a new power plant. This year, we aim to distribute 5 million compact fluorescent lamps in selected urban areas. Our Biofuels Act is also making a significant contribution to our Green Philippines program. It is expected to make our country one of the 15 most attractive destinations for biofuels investments in the world, but not at the expense of food. In February this year, we started phasing in the mandated biodiesel blend, starting with 1%, which we have now increased to 2%. We've also started to mandate a 5% bioethanol blend for unleaded gasoline. Furthermore, aside from biofuels, we want to promote the use of compressed natural gas among buses flying the region immediately south of Metro Manila. This involves pursuing investors in building a chain of compressed natural gas stations and a natural gas pipeline from the landing port of our indigenous natural gas to the various stations in that chain. These are but a few examples of what we are doing to promote green industry. There is indeed a wide opportunity if the world is willing to change. But that window is closing fast. In the face of climate change, we have to move quickly. And I am happy and proud that in this conference, we have increased that pace. Thank you, mabuhay to all the peoples of the world.